Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. Now, this week I am super excited to share with you, and it's kind of out of order, but the reason why is I just got back from watching the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Now, y'all have heard me talk about it in the past. I am an absolute hardcore geek. Like, I met my husband playing a video game. I was a girl gamer before girl gamers were cool. I liked unicorns when they still got you stuffed in lockers, like all of these things. I'm a hardcore geek, always have been, right? And so, of course, had to go see the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Fingers crossed that it was going to be a good movie. And it wasn't bad. Wasn't the best movie I'd ever seen, but it definitely wasn't bad. But the reason why I am so excited to share with y'all is because Michelle Rodriguez played Holga, who was the female warrior out of the group. And as I was watching this, like I found myself getting a little bit choked up and I was trying to figure out why. And then I thought about it and I realized it's because she was a total badass in the way that I wanted to be a badass as a kid. But there were no women that I could look for to that. She wasn't wearing makeup. She wasn't the sex symbol. She wasn't the romantic partner of the lead. She stood alone in her own right. She took care of them. She had some motherly scenes, but it was motherly kind of like how I'm a mom and not motherly like June Cleaver, like you would see when you were a kid. And it showed representation in a way that I have not seen. And as somebody who I am very proud of being a female, but I'm not a traditional female. And so that meant a lot. And so I know when we're thinking and we're looking at LGBTQ and we're looking at interracial couples on TV, there's a lot of times that these conversations will happen. Well, why do they have to shove it down our throats? They're not. It's representation. It's so that somebody can look on a screen and see somebody that looks like them. And it is so powerful. And it's an amazing feeling that my daughter is going to grow up in a world where she's not going to see anything weird about Michelle Rodriguez going through and just totally kicking ass. But I do. I remember when the only time that a woman was in a fantasy movie was as the fantasy. It was really cool. And I wanted to share it with you. Representation matters. Look around your teams. Look around your companies. Look at your board of directors. Do they all look the same? Or do they represent the diversity of your organization? And think about it. Is there somebody that you want to look on a screen one day and see? Somebody that maybe reminds you of the parts of yourself that you weren't always the proudest of. That is the power of representation. All right. So that's all I have for this week. If you're a geek, I highly recommend watching the movie. Again, not the best movie in the world, but not the worst by any stretch. It's a good way to kill a couple hours. But if you were a bossy little girl on the playground who'd rather play with G.I. Joes instead of Barbies, I highly recommend checking this movie out. There's some pretty cool stuff that happens. Have an amazing week. And no matter where you fall, whether you were the bossy kid or you're the one that likes to play in your mom's dresses and heels, whatever that looks like, all the way to who you are now, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week. And as always, never forget, you got this. I'll see you next week.